Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So this one is going to have a spreadsheet as always, but it's going to be a little bit different. This video I'm going to be talking about the reality of being the landlord. Landlord sounds so cool. Oh, I'm a lord, I own this land, I own the property, it's so nice, but it's really difficult. So I'm going to talk you through some of the properties and some of the issues that have happened over the past probably 12 months. How I've had to deal with it, the stories behind it. I'll show you a few messages, and then I'll give you some potential solutions for how to do that and the key things to look out for. So I hope you enjoy. Alright, so in the past 12 months, there has been so much happening. Once you have a property, if you have a property that's fully refurbed, if every property you buy you do a full refurb, new boiler, new gas, new plumbing, new flooring, any furniture replaced, new plastering, any moisture issues, all of it checked, roofed, everything checked to perfection. You might not have as many of them. I've got some properties that are a bit more dated, so that's maybe the reason for that, but I always make sure to do a decent refurb before someone moves in, and still there's issues. There's always issues that are caused by, one, people's behavior, the tenants' behavior. Sometimes you don't mean to damage things, but they do. And two is the competence of the UK labour force. A lot of them are just crap. I'll tell you that much. A lot of the people I've used in the past, they are sound and amazing, but they're not very good at all. You know, I've got a few people. I would say the electrician that I've got is really good, but some of the others that I've used before, honestly, the standard in this country is so low that they get away with murder because people don't understand what's going on. They get away with shortcuts. Things get repaired and they get broken again. They're not thinking about the long-term solutions, so that can be a real difficulty. So let's start off having a look at some messages. First message we've got is when 4 people are supposed to be staying in a flat, and this is the message I've got. How many people are meant to be downstairs, as there's 2 huge vans outside and there's 11 men. This is making me feel very unsettled. So that's a short-term accommodation. 4 people are supposed to be staying, 11 people arrived. None of them stayed there. They only arrived for like half an hour. I think they helped move something in and out, but just the fact that there was that many people, even for that short period of time, the neighbour was already like, oh my god, what's going on there? Are they going to have a party? Are they going to destroy the place? Crazy. That was easy to deal with. I called them up, find out what was going on. They were quite nice. They said that it's the team and they're just helping them move. I told them that should have not happened, because if it's 4 people, it's 4 people. You're not supposed to have 11 people, even for a short period of time. They understood that. I've reassured the neighbour, moved on from it. But those little things, very common, can happen anytime. Next one. Hi Vlad, as mentioned to the agency prior to renting, I'm staying long term. I'd like to remove some of the furniture that you've got. So that was another big thing. I've had some furniture. I'm not precious about it. It's in a rental accommodation. I'm saying to the guy, if you're going to stay long term, several years, you can put your own furniture in. That's not a problem. So he's saying, okay, that would be great. I'm saying, right, I'm not going to... Apologies, the ice cream van. I'm saying I'm not going to be selling this furniture. I don't care about this furniture. It's sort of older furniture. So all you have to do is call up this number and there's charities that will come and collect it. He called up some charity. They came over, had a look. For some reason, it didn't fit their... I don't know if it didn't fit their van or didn't fit their standards, but they decided no. The sofa was really good. It had the fire rating. The table was wooden. There was nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It wasn't broken or anything. He just wanted his own furniture in. But the charity said, oh no, this is not for us today. Why the hell? I have no idea. So what I had to do, I had to get there, disassemble all the stuff, fit it into my state car, and take it to the recycling centre. That was a whole day wasted just messing around with furniture. That's how that was dealt with. Next one, the most annoying one. The tenant in there is lovely. I really get on well with them. I love how they interact with me, how professional they are, etc. But it's really frustrating. I've just finished this refurb. You've seen in my other videos, almost £40,000 refurb. Everything has been stripped, rewired, new plumbing, new bathroom, new kitchen, everything brand new. What am I getting? Morning Vlad, for the last 2 days we haven't been able to close our bathroom door. It looks like the door has swollen. One thing that hasn't been done in the refurb is the bathroom door and the other internal doors weren't painted with the waterproof paint. So even though the fan is running, etc., what happened is that over time the door must have absorbed a bit of moisture, literally moved by a few millimeters, and that was enough to get it to stop closing. So me, another guy that I know that does quite good work, we went to the flat, took the door off, trimmed the other side, made sure it's all straight, repainted it. I've painted the whole door, all great, all sorted. A day or two later, he messages me saying, now the lock doesn't close. So then I had to go back, and the little metal thing for the lock shifted a tiny little bit, so I had to put it back, screw it in the right place, then it all locked. So that was basically 3 days out of my life just messing around with this little thing. Then last one, I can move it up for you. So you can see the photo in here, and if I move it here for now, just says, good morning, how's the family? Please, I've noticed in the living room the patches here are water. It seems like it's leaking. There was a lot of mould on that same spot last year. There was no water on it. I left it as it is so you can see it yourself. As you can see the picture here, it is condensation. It is not a leak, it is condensation. Those people have not been using the heating. They decided it's an EPCC, it's a good flat, it's got gas heating, there's no reason to not use it. It's not super expensive, it's a really good flat, but they're thinking we'll save a bit of money. It's the winter, we won't put the heating on, we'll put electric heater a little bit for an hour in the bedroom, the rest of it, we'll just leave it as it is. Also, they don't ventilate and they do a lot of cooking. So they cook for a big family. They've got those massive pots and they cook in those massive pots. So all this condensation goes out, causes mold. So I've had to try to educate them. I even bought them a humidity level that shows what percentage of humidity there is in the flat. That helps resolve it. We removed it, treated it, but because of their habits, it could come back again. So they thought it's a leak, but actually it's condensation from their bad habits. So very important to educate the people and make sure this doesn't happen in your flat. Having a look at the left hand side, this is different properties. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just 5 properties, and that's examples that came to the back of my head. And I'm going to talk you through them just so you know what sort of things you can expect. And then I'll talk about the potential solutions. So in the first flat, it's a 1-bedroom flat. What were the issues in the past 12 months? Well, one, there's an absolute idiot of a neighbour downstairs. He's an addict. I've seen him around, really quite bad. He's extremely noisy and almost bordering on criminal behaviour, where I've seen him being taken away by police several times. What he's been doing is he's been making really loud conversations all the way through the night, sometimes putting music on, etc. So he can be screaming for the whole night from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., 5 a.m., etc. Then he falls asleep, shuts up, then the same the following night. Probably sleeps during the day, active during the night. All the neighbours are absolutely hating it. So I'm speaking to the housing association, who are factoring the place, as well as they own the flat that he lives in. And what they're saying is, well, it's quite difficult to deal with those situations. He's vulnerable in that way. He's been arrested several times, but we're just trying to have a chat with him and see what can be done. And I'm saying, look, there's 4 flats. From those 4 flats, 3 neighbours are against him being there. He needs to go out of there. He needs to be relocated to somewhere else. He's ruining my tenancy because my tenant is going to move out with somebody downstairs like that. But they're like, well, we can't really do that because it's a vulnerable person. He's addicted. So that one is still ongoing. I think he's been a bit better. He's been arrested now again a few weeks ago. So maybe that improved things a little bit. But yeah, as you can see, because of the system being so soft, there's not much you can do about this stuff. You know, I can't go and confront him because then he can report me to the police. So you have to be very careful with managing those situations. I've sent formal complaints to the council, so now it's just waiting and seeing how things play out and making sure you're staying legal throughout all that. In the same flat, the fridge broke, so stopped working altogether. So it was an inbuilt fridge, which was a nightmare. So it meant that we had to pull it out, destroy that little bit, make sure it's the hole is ready. I couldn't find the same built-in fridge. The door was also not great, so I ended up just getting a freestanding under-counter fridge, putting it in there. The difficulty being where the legs are, there's a strip that goes along it. I can't remember what it's called, and that had lights in it and obviously wires. So it's quite nice. You press the light and all the bottom illuminates. Because we've removed that fridge and put the freestanding fridge in, we had to cut that, we had to reconnect the wires. A bit of a nightmare, but we've managed to get it done. Furniture, as I already said, that was a nightmare. That was that message. I had to go and take it all, disassemble all myself and take it all away myself. Boiler broke. The agency looks after this property. There was a new pressure release valve and a new expansion vessel that needed to be done. It was like 500 quid, I think, which I think is far too much, but because it was dealt with that way, I didn't have much control over it, so we just had to pay it, and that was it. And then you had log jam, and which we've kind of adjusted a little bit, and then that was it. So 12 months, that's the main issues that have happened. Does it happen every 12 months like that? No. It can be 12 months without a single message, everything perfect. So it just depends on your luck. Next property is property G. What happened there is the shower head holder, so the holder for the shower head snapped off because it was screwed just badly to the panels. So I went and got that replaced myself. The lock broke, so the guy I know again, I got him to go in and replace the lock because that was just jamming, so it was just too old, basically. And it didn't seem like it when I bought the property because everything was working, but obviously the lock can only function for so long before it breaks, especially those more modern ones. Toilet noise, again, I've got a company to come and sort it. That was an easy fix. And then leak to downstairs neighbour was a big thing. There was a big stain on the downstairs neighbour bedroom ceiling. So I went there and that was something crazy. Thankfully, they were doing a bit of a refurb, so it was a bit untidy apart from the carpet being decent. So I've tried to open it up and I got covered with this like insulation that's just like, I don't know, almost like little balls all together. All this shit just fell on me with all the water. So we found what the issue was. The property that I have, it's got too many bathrooms. I don't know why the previous owner has done it like that. So in there, the waste for the bathroom wasn't connected correctly and it needed quite a bit of adjustment. So we removed the bathroom, took everything away, plastered the walls, put new flooring in, and for the neighbour, put the insulation back, got some new plasterboard, put it up, plastered it, and they said they'll paint it themselves. So a big job, for a leak. Had to sort all this crap in the neighbour's house that took a couple of days. Then get the flooring sorted, painted, plastered, all the old shower, bathroom stuff removed. So yeah, a bit of a nightmare. Next is another flat, 1-bedroom flat, and that one has been sound. Everything has been perfect, but there's been a pressure drop once, so easy enough fix, but you had to go and get it sorted. The plumbers, you need to find the ones that you trust because some of them will come, top up the pressure and tell you they've done a grand worth of work. So just make sure you have somebody that you trust, because if they're just going to do the top up of pressure, they need to charge you for that appropriately rather than charging you more. But I've done that myself. Then this last one is the one with the tenants that had the condensation. There was a leak in the kitchen, so the flexes for the tap were really cheap and crap. And one of them burst, flooded the neighbours, absolute nightmare that had to be dealt with. The plumber came out, changed one of them, and he didn't see that the second one was just as bad. So later on, the second one also burst. So twice the flexes burst. He came back again, fixed it again. So that just shows me that the plumber that was used by the agency wasn't very competent, because I mean, it doesn't seem right that he's changed one flexi pipe. He didn't even check the other one, because the other one burst a few days after he left. So a bit useless, honestly. He also came out to check the radiators leaks. The tenant told me that he actually tried to be messing around with the valve and snapped it and then just left it like that. I'm not sure how true it is, so I'm not going to blame anyone for that one. It could have been the tenants, could have been the plumber, but regardless, he's seen that the valve was messed up, broken. He just said, "Oh, I'm not too sure what it is," and left it, instead of changing those valves. I mean, the valves you can buy in the shop and change them. It's within the budget that the agency is allowed to spend, but no, the guy just left it. So the conclusion here, the agency used an absolutely useless plumber, so we've had to get our own one, and we've taken radiators off, cleaned them, drained them, tried to tighten up the connections. I still think it's not perfect. There's still some that bother me a little bit. I think there's not a huge amount of leak, but I'm still not 100% convinced it's all done, but most of it has been sorted, and there's not been any complaints since. The fridge broke. It's a big American style fridge freezer, so it was a nightmare. Just stopped cooling, so we had to move that from the top floor down and bring another one in. Absolute nightmare, but we managed to get it done. Microwave broke, so we changed that. Then the mould issue is all about the education. And the roof issue as well is that there was a couple of tiles that was taken, well, maybe 6 to 10 tiles that was taken with the storm. So we had to get a roofer out with special ladders, insurance, everything else to replace that, seal it, and do all that. That was over $1,000. So again, quite a bit for one flat. And then the last one, in the last flat, we've had the little beetles that were found. Absolute nightmare. You definitely don't want insects in the place. So we've changed the floor, sprayed everything we could, checked all the moisture, made sure it was all good. That was a big job, took a few days to get it all sorted. There was a couple of radiator leaks. We had to change the valves for those. That was a few £100 just to get that sorted. Broken bed and mattress. So over time, mattress kind of get used up. I don't know what people do on those beds, but the bed, the supporting big, thick bit of wood, I think you can probably stick a few cars on it and it's not going to break, but somehow it broke right in the middle. So again, don't ask me what people were doing. And I think, to be honest, I'm not even being funny, I think they were doing stuff that completely is inappropriate, as in adults jumping on the bed, just like using it as a trampoline. I think probably stuff like that, maybe 5 people at the same time or something stupid like that. So we had to get rid of the bed, rid of the mattress, brand new bed, brand new mattress, £600 gone. But now that's sorted. There were some fridge issues that we've managed to resolve by sort of draining it, defrosting, etc. And then cooking it function correctly. Again, got it sorted. There's other bits and pieces, but that just gives you a flavour for being a landlord. Those things, they happen. You might get lucky, but remember, as you grow your portfolio, as you go from 1 flat to 5 flats to 10 flats, the more flats you have, or the more properties you have, the more likely stuff is to go wrong. It could be the heating system, it could be the plumbing, it could be the doors, it could be the blinds, it could be anything. Actually, one of the flats had some blinds issues as well. So hopefully that gives you an idea of stuff that happened, how we dealt with it. And now I'll probably just summarize by just talking about potential solutions and then pros and cons and some of the dilemmas I have with all this. So one of the obvious solutions is have all trades on hand. So have the numbers of all the trades, which is kind of what I have. Have people that are reliable. If something happens, call them up, arrange it, and get it sorted. That's decent enough. Yeah, you can do that. But just remember, it can be a little bit more tricky because, one, when you've got a really good person, say you've got a really good gas engineer, what might happen is that you call him and he'll be fully booked for the next 3 weeks. Yes, he can probably do you a favour, but unless it's your really good mate, he's not going to be doing you a favour all the time. So you have to manage the sort of emergency versus non-emergency responses, and you also have to think about the tenant and how long you make them wait, etc. You want to provide the best service possible, so that's a good way to go, but it can still be a headache because if something happens, you need to figure out what happens a bit better, then call the plumber, electrician, whoever might be able to fix it, then check his availability, then check the tenant's availability, line them up, so you're then becoming like a middleman, or get them to talk to the tenants directly, which doesn't always work. So you have to figure out a way of lining it up. Do you then go there to make sure everything goes to plan, or do you just go there and make sure the tenants are in on that date? You just have to kind of figure it out, which can be a bit of a pain, a bit of extra work, which is not ideal. Another thing, as you scale, is you can have an employee. You could have like a property manager, and that's a person that their job is to look after the state of repair. So they could be going out doing inspections, they could be arranging trades, etc. But you need to make sure you find someone reliable. You need to make sure they have reliable people, because one person is not going to be able to go and fix everything themselves. So ideally, they would have the skills to be organizing stuff, but also the skills to do minor repairs themselves, inspections. But also, they're going to be quite expensive. If you're paying their salary, all those things, you're going to have a big portfolio, probably 100 properties or so. If you have 5 properties, it's unlikely you're going to be able to afford to have an employee just to do that. So that's something to keep in mind. And then agency. Again, I've used an agency. It's been a mixed sort of bag, but you just need to make sure they're reliable. I mean, the agency that I've used, if they always call me, message me whenever something happens. The people that they've used, like the plumber and stuff, I don't trust them. I don't think they're doing a good job. The tenants have complained to me about the level of service they're getting when they're calling and what sort of response times they're getting, etc. So it's a tricky one. But then again, there was one other time a gas was broken. I think it was a bit too expensive to fix it, but they came and fixed it in a couple of days and it was all sorted. So it's a bit of a mix, but with an agency, just really make sure that you trust that agency. There's good reviews for the agency. They have good tradespeople on hand, and they're going to be doing inspections, and they're going to be on top of your property. Because there are agencies out there that would just take it, happily take 10-12% of the rent as per the contract, and then do nothing until something happens. And if something happens, they'll call you and say, oh, what do you want us to do? So they don't actually take the headache away from you. So some agencies do, some agencies don't. So just keep that in mind. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed my little rant around what sort of issues have happened. Hopefully it gives you an idea of what to expect with property. It's not all return on investment, massive payouts all the time. It is crap like that you also have to deal with. But yeah, hopefully that was informative. I'll do more videos like this in the future. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Subscribe to this channel because it always helps and I enjoy doing those conversations and spreadsheets. And we'll see you in the next video.